Hi, I'm Abigail Mill and I'm a textile artist and I specialise in machine embroidery. I've developed this new range of applique kits for my customers who are keen sewers and have tried my sewing kits but have asked for something a little bit more adventurous and maybe a little bit more intricate to push them further. These kits are designed so that you can sew them by hand or a free motion machine. Inside the kit there's an 8-inch embroidery hoop, a pattern and instructions and everything that you need to make up the picture. And I'm going to run through each design individually so you can see how to make the pictures up. There are about a dozen designs at the moment in this range, ranging from florals to sea-themed ones, seals and fishing boats. And they're all available online at abigailmill.co.uk. In the Nordic Reindeer kit, you've got an 8-inch embroidery hoop which you can use on and off throughout the process of making up the kit. All of the fabric that you need, so there's a pre-cut background square which is the grey one, and then there's the 2 blue pieces for the snow and for the night sky which runs along here. That's for the trees, and we're going to be using that in reverse as well as the front face, so both sides, just to get 2 different tonal aspects there. That's for the cottage. That's for the red detail on the reindeer. That runs across the roof of the cottage. And then these are for the reindeer fabric, for the antlers and for the body. Also in the pack, you will have the pattern, which is really important. So you can cut this out with paper scissors, and then to help you along the way to work out which fabric goes with each pattern, there's an instruction sheet as well with written instructions, and on this there are the letters that correlate to each piece of fabric. Other equipment that you will need, which isn't in the pack, are pins. This is paper glue, but you could also use a fabric glue as well, and then obviously just sharp embroidery scissors, and then threads to go with the design. So for the reindeer I'm going to be using a variegated thread here, and then also a blue variegated for all of the landscapes and the snow. And this is great because tonally you've got 2 different types of colourways going through there, which is really quick and easy. The other colours I'd like to use is a variegated green, and we'll work that around the trees. You can use any threads that are in your kits because colour is actually a really, really personal thing. So have a rummage and see what you've got. I've cut out all of my paper pattern pieces and then worked out which pattern goes on top of each piece of fabric. Some of them are lightly tacked with a bit of glue and others are pinned on. There's a couple of things to point out. But this one, this shape here is for the foreground of the snow and also for the night sky background, so I've pinned both pieces together and I'm going to cut them out together. And this really is just a rough cut around, and I'll be fraying and manipulating the edges of these later. And once I've done that, what I want to do, there's an inside piece here, and that's for the snowy bit too, so cut out that piece of paper and then put that pattern on top of there. That's for that one. The roof of the cottage is actually 2 layers, and I want to keep it that thick because it gives it a really lovely opaque finish. The lace runs across the top, and with the antlers I've glued them down because they're quite fiddly to cut. With the trees, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use both sides of the fabric there, so there's a change in tone. So we're going for the bright green and also working on the back of it too. And we need 2 trees, so I'm going to pin that down and then cut round those so I'll get 2 trees in flip reverse. I've cut out my pieces of fabric now, and I'm just going to show you how to lay up the background. So the bottom half section is the pale blue snow fabric. Then we've got the night sky on the horizon, and the foreground, which I have actually frayed around the edges. Give it a pull and a rough tuft because we want that to be nice and 3-dimensional in the foreground there. So I'm going to pin that down and make sure it's still ruched. Likewise with this one, this needs to be tufted up a bit. So I'm just fraying those edges out, and then I'm going to put that down on there and pin that down. And I'm thinking about the threads now and the colours that I want to use to build this piece up. So for the background, it's going to be a dark navy blue across the horizon. Now you could use that side, which is quite strong, or again the reverse is more subtle, but that's just personal taste. I'm going to show you how I've stitched that one. So I went for the reverse and then a dark blue across the horizon, just backwards and forwards a couple of times. So that's free motion machining. You could do it just straight stitch on a machine or use a pre-programmed stitch if you want to. These kits are actually quite versatile, so that you can make them up in your own way. Then in the foreground I've gone for a variegated blue cotton and white, and then just wiggled along in a free motion stitch. But again, you could use like an open zigzag or a closed zigzag on a pre-programmed stitch, or just a straight line. The next stage is to add the background details, so I'm going to go for the forest, and the first piece to go down is one of those trees, and then they're going to overlap that way. So what I've done here is use some of the white from the cottage as the snowdrifts to fall on the branches of the trees, and those are just stuck down for now, and then we'll work around that with embroidery. So that's those two pieces in place, and then the cottage goes along there, and just a bit of dark night sky behind that. And then don't forget to trap down the little chimney, and then also that lace detail runs across the top there as well. I'm going to pin those down. Tree goes just in front of the cottage, and again you could work, they could both be the same or two different tones there, so that's where those are going to sit. This can be stretched in a hoop, and I'm going to sew round in a dark green around all of those, and then a brown around the cottage doing the windows and then the door. So I've just finished stitching the trees on this, and I stretched it in a hoop first, and I've used a variegated green around the fir tree, and then also at the same time trapped down the snow on each bough and worked around. So I'm just going to take that out now and pop in the reindeer into the foreground. So he's going to sit about there, so I want him on the snowdrift, and then his antlers will go underneath. And these can be pinned or glued again, and then I'm going to run free motion around the edges of these in a brown thread. Again, if you're not confident, then just hand stitch through. Just make sure they're stuck down first. So that's where the reindeer's going to live, and you'll have to bring in a little detail for his smile and also in his eyes, and refer back to the instructions for that. And then this little red Rudolph nose, and then work around as well his little saddle bag on the back, and don't forget his feet. After that I'm going to be putting some stars just up in the night sky, so in whites and blue colours there, then it will be finished. I just finished sewing around the reindeer here, so it's a variegated brown all the way around his features, stretched in a hoop, and I'm going to take him out now. So the embroidery is finished, and what you'll need to do to finish this off is to mount it. You could spray glue the back, and then maybe every 2 inches just do a tack straight through and out of the mount board and back again, all the way around. And that's it, he's ready to go. If you are interested in learning more about the techniques of free motion embroidery, then please do look at the website, as I'll be launching online tutorials, which will be something that you can subscribe to and just take it a lot further. As with all of my kits, these are just starting points, so you've got the pattern here, you can make them your own and add your own bits and pieces, buttons and lace and embellishment, and alter the design and build it up. Have fun. If you are interested in taking this further and learning more techniques, then do sign up to my online tutorial courses, which will be launched soon, and this is more advanced free motion applique.